What have you made? Me and you haven't spoken for a while about all these Riyadh season events and now Ring Magazine stuff. What have you made of just Riyadh season? Like,
It has
how
been.
crazy has it been for you watching?
It has just been like you got to bear in mind, man. We went through a very kind of barren stage in boxing where if we got maybe one really good card a year, and
Yeah.
that might be two good fights on the card, we're looking at this year already, and every month there's a big show.
Yeah.
And it's not even that there's a big show. If you had said, imagine me and you did our first ever show together 5 years ago. If someone said 2020, February 22nd show would actually happen, me and you would both look at that person and say, get out of here. What are you talking about?
That's, that's the best way to put it. If someone said to me, okay, dude, in a couple of years' time, this is the fight card you're going to see for February 22nd. I said, okay, lock him up now. He's obviously not been watching what Eddie and Frank have been putting on for the last couple of years. They can maybe give you the main event, maybe the co. You ain't getting that rest. You're getting 6-8 rounders, and we don't even know who those people are. The first event, I think, was Fury and Ngannou.
Fury and Ngannou,
right? October 2023, I think. There's been 8 since then.
And they've all been
8
epic.
Super Bowl, WrestleMania type events since then. And I was hoping for maybe 2 a year.
Oh, yeah.
And we've had like 4 or 5 a year. And this year, I think there's going to be several.
It seemed like that. It seemed like these were like really special occasion cards.
Yeah.
And Turkey has just been like, no, they're not. They're special, but they're not on occasions. We're going to do them as regularly as we can.
Yeah.
And honestly, like as I said, Zile Zhang versus Ajikabayel, that's going to be open in the card, apparently. Just let that sink in. Zile Zhang versus Kabayel opening a pay-per-view card. And you're thinking, what the hell? That's
Crazy,
just a sign of how good that
crazy.
show is.
Honestly, it's crazy. It's like there's a toss-up between that opening and Boatsy Smith. Imagine Boatsy Smith walking first at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
And again,
that's an O2 headline.
That's an O2 headline act. Or maybe like when AJ was in his prime, that's a co-main event on an AJ card.
Yeah.
That's literally the height of that. And you're having a toss-up between that or Zhang, which one's going to open the show.
Yeah. Can I ask you an honest question? And be honest with me as well. Don't hurt my feelings. It's fine. The atmosphere. Because I'm there. And I work with Simon Jordan at TalkSport, and I think Carl Froch all of a sudden has done a bit of a U-turn on this, but we'll get to that. But they always used to moan about the atmosphere. When I'm there, I'm almost quite respectful of different atmospheres, because I watch Inoue fights. Maybe they don't, and I'm like, Inoue's fights are not crazy atmospheres.
No.
Some people just patiently and silently watch fights and applaud. What do you make of the atmosphere at some of these?
It's a weird one. So I always say to people when they ask me, I would say, I'm normally doing a watch-along for the main event, the co-main. So I'm not really seeing what the atmosphere is like because I have the volume muted. But when I'm watching the undercard, I don't care. I'm listening. I'm watching it and I'm just like, and people are saying, oh yeah, but, and it's like, but I'm only noticing it because you're telling me.
Why are people trying to find something? Like
it's so weird.
Obviously, look, a great atmosphere. Like, we grew up Ricky Hatton time.
Oh, yeah.
So you had atmospheres. And AJ came along and Carl, we've had great atmospheres. But I've watched shows where I don't even think of the atmosphere. I just want to care about what's going on in the ring. All of a sudden, there's this big want to find something. And I'm like, dude, we're getting the fights that we dreamt about.
When I see, like a good example would be when I was watching Jarrell Miller, Daniel Dubois on that Day of Reckoning, right? I watched that with the sound on and I was just engrossed in that fight. I couldn't have cared less. Oh, but no one's cheering. I'm like, oh, I haven't even noticed that. I'm just watching this fight. So that's the thing. And it's like, and I always say to people, like, well, hang on a minute. You're saying the atmosphere. I'm not noticing it, but you're saying the atmosphere. Have you seen these cards?
Yeah.
Would you rather have a big atmosphere and maybe one of those fights is a main event and then the rest of them maybe not happening at all?
Yeah.
It's like, mate, I don't mind the atmosphere. I think it's A-okay. And look at the fights. I'm just focusing on the fights.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, again, comparing it to some of the Brits, some of the British cards, yeah, the atmosphere can be a bit quiet. It's certainly not going to be a bloody Conlon Lee Wood. It's not going to be that. I granted, it's not going to be Serrano Taylor. It's not going to be that. But it's getting better. It's getting better.
Yeah.
I thought Fury Usyk atmosphere 1 and 2 was fantastic. Fury brings a crowd that no other can bring. They travel to Saudi Arabia in numbers. I haven't seen anything like it before. And they're traveling 4 days before Christmas. Fury's fan base is crazy. Honestly, it's very similar to Josh Warrington. Just like they're almost like football fans. They're like football fans. So well done to Fury in getting that fan base.